Okay. Hello, everybody. It is Sunday, January 23rd. And if you didn't know, we're in the middle of a global pandemic again. So just in case you were unaware, the start of 2022 did not go as expected. And we have an amazing opportunity here to get really, really honest and open and dig into our why. We're not going to let that get in the way of the rest of 2022, because New Year's resolutions are for people who don't really plan on having an amazing entire year. They're to make them feel good in the moment. And you're here because you want to stop feeling at the mercy of every emotion that is flooding you from every side, every minute of every day currently. So, yeah, but it's awesome, right? This lipstick filter is fantastic.
Oh my God.
What? It's a filter? I can't
It's a filter. Lily doesn't know how to take it off.
It's okay.
What?
My daughter.
No, that's awesome. I love it.
I could play around, but I'll probably cause more damage trying to.
I think it's a great color on you.
I totally buy it.
Yeah.
Okay. So today's call is about going back to our why. And I set up an entire week of posts for you guys, really digging into reigniting the fire that's going to get us through the tough times. What's going to help us feel good about ourselves, even when we are going to be making mistakes, we are going to be taking imperfect action. What in the end of the day is really going to make the difference when we look back at these difficult months, that we're going to be like, yeah, that was like really hard, but I did this anyway. And that's really, really important for us to dig into tonight. Thank you so much for everybody who's asking me how I am. I unfortunately am not 100% better, but I'm getting better and I'm doing my best to be patient through the process of getting better. I'd love to open up the call tonight with the chat. And if everybody in the chat can tell me and tell yourselves that you are in tonight for finding your why. I am in to find why I want to pull it together, why I want to feel better about myself, why I want to keep going and feeling good about my choices. I am in for finding my why. You are in. Let me know if you are in the chat. My delivery just came of my second Lily's Hot Cocoa of the day. Okay. You can get there again. In for finding my why. In for finding my why. I love what you said, Lauren, about you've been there before. You know how many times we say, oh, I've fallen off. I always fall off. But really, if you're here, you also always find your way home. You always find your way back, and that's equally true. I'm in for expanding my why. I'm in it. Okay, great. I'm into transforming my mindset. Amazing. I want you guys, hold on one second, I'm sorry. While I quiet the 5-year-old who's out, I want you guys to take a second, and when we first ask ourselves why, we have to ask ourselves, why what? So if you're doing 2B mindset, I want you to tell me what the result is right now that you actually really want. Right now, are you looking to lose weight? Are you looking to maintain? Or are you looking to healthy weight gain? Okay, and be honest in the chat right now. Am I, because before we deal with our why, you have to know why what? Why what? Are you really looking to lose weight right now? Are you really looking to maintain your weight? What are you looking for?
Okay, guys, keep it coming. Like really, it might seem like a simple question, but considering with everything that's going on right now, there's no right or wrong. It's not like if you're saying right now there are things going on in my life, and right now I am looking to sustain a healthy maintenance, that's also something. And if you're looking for weight loss, again, like Lily was saying, like why, what, you got to figure out what it is that you're looking for now.
To be my best self is awesome, but I want you to be really concrete here in terms of the food behaviors, right? We all want to be our best self. You could be your best self today, and anyway, you're already your best self. You're the best, you're showing up the best you possibly can. So we're talking here about being really concrete. Where are you in terms of your why? Before we can figure out the why, we have to figure out the what. Okay.
Lily, do you want to read what Jude wrote? Do you want Jude to read what she wrote? Do you want?
Let me see if I can scroll up. Yeah, my confidence is losing weight right now is gone. Weight loss, reach my goal. I know that my why is, but I've discovered that I haven't been prepared to put in the effort required. And I know it's terrible, but I love myself as I am, and I think I'm awesome. That's exactly what I just said. You saying I want to love myself is not going to motivate weight loss, because you should love yourself today. If you want to motivate weight loss, it has to be a weight loss related goal. And Ayelet, do you want to share the first weight loss related goal that you shared in our coach call amongst us coaches that we do first about what Alana said? And that's a perfect example with her legs. Like that's a weight related goal.
Right. So Alana very much, and we're going to get into that also, is when you're thinking about your weight loss goal and thinking about why, what is like why it is that you want to lose that weight loss. And Lily phrased it so well when we were speaking and thinking about like that pain point. So Alana shared that it's so clear in her mind that she remembers wanting to be able to cross her legs comfortably. You know, I remember never being able to imagine the day that I can wear a skirt without wearing bicycle shorts underneath, things like that. Like figuring out the why the weight loss is, and like what it is, that pain point. And I think Jude, sometimes maybe this is something that might be a little bit different than just saying, I love myself. And that's why Lily wasn't going like, of course, we should love ourselves. And when we're working through things like that can then be something else to be working through, why, with the issues we might have, why we're not feeling like our best selves now and having nothing to do with weight. But when you figure out that why, that burning reason why you want to lose the weight, that thing that you want to change, that other feeling that you want to attain that you may not be feeling, how is your life being held back now by things because of it? That is starting to get into your deep whys. And once you can start really recognizing that is, I think what Lily is saying is, then getting us, then further along, then moving in the right direction of then when it comes to choices.
Okay, so I love what you said about Jude, about the dress. The dress isn't motivating you. So then it's not a why, right? Like if that dress doesn't have amazing, emotional, visceral, like I can see myself wearing that dress and nothing is going to get between me and wearing that dress, then it's not a why. And a why doesn't have to be something, it can be someone wrote, I hate feeling at the mercy of chocolate. That's a great one if you dig into it. Sorry, I'm looking for who's not muted. It looks to me like everybody's muted, but obviously someone is not muted. Okay. If you're not planning on talking, mute yourself. All right. Okay. I don't want this weight to stop me. Yes, I don't want chocolate to control me. Anytime I'm feeling pulled to chocolate, I'm running in the other direction because chocolate will not control me ever again. For the person who said chocolate, can you hear the emotion in my voice? I'll tell you mine. For as long as I can remember, I felt that the extra weight on my body was the worst kind of being trapped. My biggest fear, my biggest thing I hate is being trapped. I hate being in the house trapped where I feel like I can't be outside and it's raining. I hate feeling trapped or feeling I don't have options. Anything that triggers that feeling is my number one pain point. Anything that makes me feel like that. And so today, I was really struggling to start tracking again after having Corona. It's been 2 days, 3 days, right? And I'm like, I know I need to dig into my why, but I'm feeling pretty comfortable here in my, house of self-pity. Like, I'm trapped. Life is sucky right now. I'm gonna try to make some good choices, but gosh, like I'm not feeling the why. And so I had to say, like, okay, for me, my why is not being trapped. What was the only thing that could probably make this experience worse is coming out of it in March, going into spring, my favorite season of the year, feeling like I'm trapped in a body that's not mine anymore. I'm thinking about like, how am I going to feel? Not tomorrow. How am I going to feel like 3 weeks from now when this immediate disaster passes? What, like, oh my gosh, I can just viscerally feel and imagine opening up these beautiful new French doors in my house. And outside is the most gorgeous, warm spring day. And I want to go for a walk. But I feel self-conscious because everybody knows I'm the girl who lost weight. And I'm going to walk outside and I'm going to feel like just like my clothes aren't fitting properly. I'm going to feel self-conscious. And instead of like being fully enjoying that my season is finally here and I finally can be outside and I'm finally feel amazing, I'm going to feel like the person looking back at me is not me. I can't imagine something more tragic. I tracked today. I also ate popcorn, but I tracked. Step 1, I found my why. So I want you guys to pause and take a minute and find something that paints a real picture for you. It can be like for Alana. For her, anytime she moves her legs and she feels them not touching, she's reminded of her why. That's how visceral for her that feeling of her thighs touching is. Everybody has something that triggers that for them. That's like, oh, the immediate pleasure that I'm getting from sabotaging, we're talking about like real sabotaging behaviors, right? That is so not worth it. I love it. Somebody just shared, I can visualize not having to grab my inhaler or feel winded.
Right.
Paint that picture even more. You're going up the stairs.
Just to help, if somebody's struggling with being able to paint that picture, like a prompt, if you're having trouble thinking about like, well, how do I go from here to there? If you think about right now, what is the most or more than one uncomfortable aspect of where you are now? Don't think necessarily future. Right now, trying to figure out what is about right now, right? And what is uncomfortable about where I am right now? And if I had to imagine a year from now, being in the same place, right? In a year from now, being where I am now, how does that feel? Like that's when we were like thinking about that, like that pain point and trying to really then figure out the change, that physical, what Lily was saying, that feeling, right? That you can really feel it. It's not easy to sometimes even admit that to yourself about, but that I think for me is like sometimes one of the biggest prompts about thinking, what is hard about now? What is uncomfortable about now? And I don't want to be there in a year.
And guys, and this will be different places in your journey. You know, there are some of you who are just starting and have a lot of weight to lose. It's going to be something more immediate. And then there's going to be some of you who are approaching your goal weight. And maybe you're up and down 10 pounds now. You're up and down 6 pounds. And so you're like, I'm pretty comfortable right now. Okay, I've been maintaining this weight range for like a bunch of years now. For me, the pain point has to be what not feeling like this. Yes, I feel bloated. I feel that immediate, like I'm wearing my period jeans today. Like, you know, like there's that, but I fit in my clothes. Like those things those things aren't pain. But you know what the pain is of going back there, of knowing that if I shut off 3 months from now, I could be 15 pounds heavier. 15 pounds in 3 months could totally happen. Okay. So this next part of the pandemic, we can't look at it as it's 2 days. It's not till the next kid gets out of quarantine. It's not till the next person you know is sick. This is a season. I don't want any single person on this call today to go into spring with regrets, deep regrets about how they spent this season.
Guys, also think about it. I don't know about you, but the whole pandemic stress, and every time in the last 2 years has been something else. And whether it's the PTSD, their fear of quarantine, so many things do keep popping up. But I'm pretty sure nobody can then say over the last 2 years, other regular life stressors weren't there, right? There's always gonna be something, you know? So you need to then figure out, as Alana always says, how to prepare for stress. Meaning in general, not even getting specific. Like she said, don't be surprised by surprises. Of course life is full of surprises. Of course life is full of stress. That's what we're trying to change. That's what we're trying to figure out how to, you know, work through.
Okay, there are a few here that I think we really want to highlight, and I would love to, if you're open, to share a little bit. Julie, are you willing to come on video or to come on audio? I want to head into the next stage of my life as healthy as I can be, and that's in my control.
Hi.
Hey, welcome. Are you
Thank you.
open to me using you as a little bit of an example of how we can find the emotional place in the why?
No problem. I'm just heading somewhere where there
No
aren't people
problem.
around.
So we'll give you a second, but guys, with Julie's permission, I'm going to show you guys a very concrete example of how you can take something that you wrote down maybe, or you wrote down to yourself. And if you haven't shared it in the chat, still do it. I'll only call on somebody with your permission, okay? So Julie, let me know when you're available, okay? When you go find a place with a good reception. Okay.
I am.
Okay, great.
Yeah. I'm
So when
the
you
door.
think
Okay.
about the next stage of your life, what
Mhm.
is a real life cycle event that you're thinking of? Something really concrete.
So I guess I picture myself with grandchildren,
Mhm.
and my mother is really sort of my, I would say, like the person I really look up to. She's in her mid-70s and she's been working out with a trainer for years.
Mhm.
And her main intent was to be as healthy as she can be for her family, for the grandkids, et cetera. So I really take that as a motivating factor for me.
Mhm. Okay. So I want you to really imagine like a compelling future for that. So where are you sitting with your grandchildren? Are you running around in a park with them? Are you pushing their strollers and carrying one who's crying? Like, pick a real image that you could only accomplish. You can only be that amazing version of yourself if you were taking care of yourself the way you want to be.
Running to bring them back to their parents.
Running to bring them back to their parents. Okay, so you're running, and what's happening around you?
Yeah, like, I want to be able to lift them and not be able to lift them, meaning I want to be strong and fit and, just feel like it's not too much for me.
Mhm. So I want you to take a second and everybody do this exercise along with Julie. But if you want to be, someone wrote comfortable in their jeans without having to grab for a longer size. Someone wrote, I want to be able to walk upstairs. Take a sec and go into who you are then. Think about how your body feels. Your body feels light. Your body feels well. You know how that feels in your body when like everything is just working. You're not bloated. You're not gassy. You just like had a bunch of great days in a row and you just feel so good. You feel energized. You feel like you've had a great night's sleep. And for Julie, oh my gosh, like her 2 grandchildren are crying and they need their bottle and she has to get them to their parents. And she can just pick them up and run down the block and bring them to them. And she's not winded when she gets there. She's smiling. She gives them a kiss. She spends a few minutes talking to her kids and giving them confidence. And she walks back home. Maybe then she's going out for her workout. Maybe then she's sitting and eating a healthy lunch and maybe talking to her husband and talking to one of her other adult kids. And maybe she needs to make a meal for somebody else who's sick. Or maybe she, is going to spend time with friends and go swimming. Maybe she's going to go do so many things. But you want to imagine it bigger than that one moment, but that moment is part of a lifestyle. If you want to be able to fit into those clothes, don't just think about the moment you reach into the closet. Think about what you ate that morning. Then you got on the scale. Then you opened your closet doors and you thought about, oh, I'm going to the office today, and then maybe I have a date night. And my husband is so attracted to me and I just feel amazing. And I am really proud of what I'm doing today. And I'm going to pick out the perfect outfit and I'm going to put it on and I'm going to go out there and live my life. That's the kind of emotion that I really, really want to engage with. Was that helpful, Julie?
Yeah, it was. It's like, yeah, my son's getting married in 2 months, God willing. And it's, I'm already like thinking that ahead for that next stage. And hopefully I can, people think about aging and it's usually very heavy, right? It's like, oh, I'm getting older and it doesn't have to be like that. So hopefully it won't. Hopefully it'll be something that I really look forward to and not dread.
Amazing. And that's a perfect example when someone mentioned a dress. Like the dress is never motivating. You have to think about, how did I feel naked before I put that dress on? How did I feel when I got out of bed and I put my underwear on and I had my healthy breakfast, or it's waiting for me after I get dressed on that day of that event? And my husband walked by and he looked me up and down and was like, damn. And then I reached into my closet and I put on that dress and I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh, I am so excited about today. That's what the dress has to mean. It's just a dress otherwise. Ayala, you have something you wanted to add? And then I'd love to hear what some more people
Yeah, I'd love
feel.
to hear what other people have to say, but there were just, there's just so much here. And like, if you guys come back and re-listen and start thinking, hearing what you're saying to yourself, in your head. But sometimes it's also not then necessarily about the jeans or necessarily then about the dress. Like I could just tell you a personal example of mine, even though I had the leg thing, the rubbing and the physical parts and I want to be healthy, what's in my control. But I also remember the aspects of different identities and when my life then turned into, this is life. I'm no longer worried about the next time I have to diet. I'm no longer worried about gaining the weight back. Like this is life. Whether it's not one day I then, yes, like fell off or ate something that maybe didn't make me feel good. It was just like a wind blew me off course, but then you get back on course kind of thing. And so sometimes it can also be an identity. I remember so, like Lily said, visual feeling like I didn't want to be the person anymore going out with friends or family and being the person that was on a diet again, or being the person that like, oh, you're on the diet, so, you know, or you're not the fun one, or like so many things that were tied up emotionally into the identities that I was giving myself, and then trying to prove myself, which seems ridiculous. Like, no, of course I can eat whatever I want, because of course I'm fun, or of course it's so much more also than just physical. Like what the things that Lily's saying, guys, like think about it in all aspects. When I say what is uncomfortable about staying where you are now, it's physical can be a big part of it, but emotionally, where is that keeping you? Where is that holding you back from something else that you want?
Amazing. Meira, are you willing to speak and share? Okay, great. I'm asking you to unmute. Hi, I just love what you just wrote. Feeling the energy of being in control, good food feelings in my body as opposed to addictive crap that makes me feel sluggish and then depressed and out of control. I think everybody can relate to that. Everybody raise your hand. We all know how that feels. We all know how that feels. We are with you. One of the posts that I prepped for this week was, once you figure out what food is making you feel the opposite of your why, right? What are you going to do about it now? So for me, I had like popcorn today, and popcorn is my go-to favorite emotional eating food. So I just took the kernels and I moved them to the Shabbat box, like way out of sight, way out of mind, far away from in the cabinet of food that gets eaten normally. So for you, do you have an idea when you think of how good it feels to be in control of your decisions and not pulled to eating food? Are there foods right now that are easily accessible to you that make you feel the opposite of that?
Yes, and that's the constant struggle. It's not so easy to just have out of sight, out of mind. It's not so easy to just remove all these things from my kids. They already resent me for never buying white bread and you know, trying to have healthier snacks. So I have some stuff sometimes, but for me, it's always been a struggle of I'm on, or I'm not, or I'm sort of getting back on, but then I'm off again. But I know so the why is there of how, you know, knowing that I feel like I know I am more depressed. I am more like, it's a vicious, like I can't focus and I can't pull myself out of it. Finding the motivation to pull myself out of it when I'm in that is so hard. Sometimes it's just the scale that gets way up.
Yes.
And then finally rock bottom pushes me.
So first of all, amazing job getting on the scale. Amazing job saying what every single person in this room is thinking. It is so hard to get this stuff out of the house.
I don't know if you realize
Every single
Yes,
person nodded their
Meira.
head.
Yes.
Myself included. Did you hear me say I put the popcorn in the trash? I said, no, it went into the Shabbat treat box that's full of all the things that I have in my house for my children that I shouldn't be eating. Okay, so you are, yes. At the same time, are you open to a little bit of hot seat and helping you find that space? Okay, so with your permission, if it's okay if I ask you a few questions?
Sure. I might also add that, I mean, I've been, you know, in touch a little bit with, you know, with Yoni about this,
Sure.
and that I've really fallen off the wagon trying to get back on, thinking I'm back on and then off again and whatever else. I mean, I said to her last night, I was out somewhere and I knew there was going to be not, you know, kosher food and there might be vegetables and fruits, but anyway, so I was prepared. I had my yogurt and whatever in the car and my bags of veggies, and I was lots of water, but and I even resisted. There was like a big bowl of M&Ms to scoop off of, and I did not have a single one, and I felt great about it. And I came back and I had more water and made a hot decaf coffee. But then I still felt, and I also decided to treat myself. I had a piece of banana bread that my daughter baked for us.
Yes.
And I put it in a bag and a portion, and I had it on the way to the game. But then afterwards, it was midnight. I still felt deprived for some reason, like watching everybody eating whatever was not kosher that was delicious. And I had I mean, it wasn't anything terrible. But it was total carbs. It was a Z-bar, like a iced oatmeal Z-bar, fine,
Yeah.
100 something, because I wanted it. And that's what's something that's so hard. Like, why am I still feeling deprived when I feel in control and I feel good? It's so hard to stay on. And I know getting into the depression and the sugar and that it's not good, but finding a way to stay there, like I was saying earlier, and finding the motivation and keeping the motivation is so hard.
So with your permission, I wanna kind of clean out some of the things that you're saying, because there's so many feelings there and they all kind of get woven together. So first I want to acknowledge how many amazing things you did yesterday. I mean, like, there was like 10 amazing things you said. You were prepared. You brought the veggies. You drank the water. You noticed the M&Ms. You got away from the M&Ms. And at midnight, after what time did you get to the game? What time did you have to start thinking about food prep for the game? Like 3 p.m.?
I mean, we were leaving really close after Shabbos, so it was like a scramble.
Right? So you had to think ahead of time even, right? You were even thinking on Shabbos about how you were going to handle this. Okay, so think about how much mental energy you put into succeeding. Does it mean that you can't stay on when after, say, 6-8 hours, you wanted something else because the effort was so much that the reward of feeling good in that moment was not enough? The why wasn't strong enough in that moment. Like, you did nothing wrong. Okay, you are not struggling with staying on course. The effort is just, I literally said this to the other coaches. I said, sometimes it feels like the mental amount of effort I have to put in. I'm meditating twice a day, and I'm doing this, and I'm working out, and I have to get up early, and I have to journal, and I have to make a salad, and I have to make the veg. Like, at some point, it just feels like too much work. Like, and I'd rather just have the bowl of popcorn than do another 20-minute meditation, even if it's going to make me feel better. Okay? This is a completely normal feeling. I'm not struggling. You're not struggling with that. What we are struggling is in that moment, I am totally not attached to my why. If you would say to me, Lily, here you are. It's that spring day. There's the sun. You want to walk out those doors? I'd be like, oh yeah, that popcorn, don't need it. But I'm not there. I'm in the middle of rainy, cold, winter construction zone, trapped in my house, 2 kids with COVID. This one just got, like, that's where you are. You're at the game and everybody's eating yummy food. And you've already put in 6 hours into this process. This is why starting to build a why that's stronger is important, because if you just eat that one bar and it's trackable and you track it and you write down next to it in your tracker, I just got worn out. Like, I didn't have, maybe it was really time to leave. Like, I was just tired of the game. Like, the game wasn't compelling enough anymore. So the food that everyone was eating looked better than the game, than being there even felt. Just be honest in that moment with why you ate it, and then you don't spiral, because that one bar doesn't send you into eating the junk food and being off for days and weeks, and a whole story loop of how you can't stay on and how you're struggling, unless
I think it was my justification for just trying to come off a spiral. I just put back like 6-7 pounds. Like, I just total spiral. And that was like my, okay, if this is the worst I'm going to do, I'm going to allow myself that. And I just held it together for so long. I don't want to reward myself using that, but I just needed to let myself.
Yeah. And sometimes letting yourself have something small and recognizing this is a really hard season will let you come back tomorrow and be like, okay, this is a really hard season. And it's really important to my kids that they have some junk in the house. But it's really important to my kids that I'm not putting on weight, because when mommy's putting on weight, that is not a happy mommy. And the last thing they need, more than they need that bag of Doritos to be easily accessible, they need me to be the me that's the better version of me, that's healthy and nourished and calm and not depressed and not wanting to hide in my bed, because I know that version. We all have that version of us. So it's not that I can't have the Doritos or whatever it is that the kids like, that you know is the thing you'll go for. It's it can be in the house, but it has to be somewhere that's like not accessible to you. And it can be
I did that
sometimes,
with Oreos. I want to throw that out to everyone,
Yes.
actually.
please.
I don't know, like, I know we're not all psychologists, but like what message is that sending if I tell my kids that I don't want to be eating all this junk? We had a box of Oreos, and so I told them I want you to hide it because it's too hard for me. So they hid it, and they would say, Ema, look the other way. We're going to just go get some, they found it. But I feel like I should do that with all the snacks that they want to have.
Yep.
Maybe tell them, keep them in a place that I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, is that
I
sending a
don't
good message?
see-
Is that not sending a good message to them? Is that,
Let's talk about what's the message you're sending them.
Right.
You have to decide, is the message you're sending them, this is an unhealthy food for me? It's like when I take away the TV remote or I put a thing on your phone saying you can't watch TV after this time, because I know you want to do the right thing, but I know it's really hard when you're on your phone to turn it off when you're supposed to. Like, it's really being honest with them, because how many times are the kids taking Oreos and they might not want to be taking Oreos? And they don't,
right? They have to think about it every time they go.
and they don't even have permission. They don't even have language to say, Mom, I don't know why I keep wanting to eat this food, but like, I'm actually not so happy about doing it. Like, to be vulnerable, but in a constructive way. And it's not that I don't have self-control. It's, you know what? Sometimes I really want these foods and I know they're not good for me and I know they only make me feel worse. So like, I'm just putting them, so I just don't want to know where they are. So it's like, it's not easy for me to go to them when I'm feeling this way. For me, it's TV and eating. I've told my kids, if you see me and we're watching TV and you see me go get up to get a snack, remind me that I just want tea. I said, from my childhood, I just have a very strong connection between eating and TV. And I really, really struggle. I am not hungry to not just get up and go get something when there's a pause in the action of the television show. No matter how many years it's been, it's like deep. So they think it's cute, like, but really in the end, I'm being honest, so that if they want to come to me about their homework and be like, Mom, I keep touching my phone. Can you hold my phone till I'm done with my homework? Would you think less of them? Be like, I just can't control myself.
Right.
like,
Right.
around
I think
my
that
phone.
I think that's what's really important. What Lily is saying is, what's the message you're trying to give over? You don't want to. You're not looking to give over the message of, oh my God, I suck and I have no self-control. You're giving over the messages kind of like, I made a commitment to myself and this is really important, and so this is what I'm willing to do to keep a promise I made to myself. And you'd want, let's say, that message for your kids to run true with it.
True.
Also, it's so
And
important
teaching them that they know
understand-
themselves, they have to know themselves and know where their own struggles are, and it's okay to reach out to other people for help.
Yeah.
I also think what's important there, if you go back also to the game, or when we always come back to, let's say, Shabbos talks or things like that, is that aspect. And again, being able to compare it to kids is such a great example of when you see something and you're saying, I want, even though you can tell by all your prep and all your planning that you didn't want, your will, okay? A will is different than a want, right? Your will, right? If you had to will it to happen, right? Like God didn't want trees when he made the world. He willed the tree. Like, it was, Rutzone people uses the word want. It's actually very, very different, okay? So your will, right? You had a certain will of how you wanted the night to go. I think such a small, minute change in our thought process there is when we then see something that we then want, that like immediate gut reaction, that defensiveness that we get, if we would just say, okay, yeah, you want it. And that's okay. You want it because it's there. You want it because you see it. It wasn't your will going into this. And all it takes is, like, if you had a child at night that wanted at 9 o'clock at night, Mommy, I want some ice cream and cookies and blah, blah, blah. And you yell at them and say, no, go to bed. They're going to keep on wanting it, right? But if you say, I really get it. I really get it. I understand you really want that. It's not the time for this now. That's all we got to do to ourselves sometimes, I think. And it's just that small change in not every want needs to be fulfilled.
And not every want means that you're struggling or that you're bad or that you don't have this. You got this. Even if you still want junk food when you don't really want to want junk food. That was, first of all, thank you so much for sharing. Everyone, like, come on, like, let's give her such an amazing round of applause here. Does anybody else have a share? Lynn, go ahead.
You're
If
on mute.
anybody else wants to share next, just message me or yell it, okay? Go ahead.
You're still on mute,
You're
Lynn.
still muted, you're still muted.
Wait, also Lily, just time for a second.
Yep.
Is just about 8:45, so
Yep.
I just wanted to give you a perspective of time because,
Yes,
you know.
perfect, thank you.
Okay, for health reasons, if God forbid we have a health problem and the doctor says you've got to do such and such, we'll follow it. If I have a blood test I have to take the next morning, no, I won't eat after dinner. Not, because then I can't do the blood test. So why can't, like I said, if not now, when? I have to wait till my 80s?
Okay, let's stop you
But
right
for
there.
all you young guys.
Stop right there. You just said, I can. So you can. You just said
Yes.
then I can't, but you can.
I'm
But you
saying, but why
can.
do I keep ruining it for myself? I've got
That's
the
the wrong
why.
question. Why can I do it other times? Every time you ask, why can't I? The only thing you'll get is horrible answers about yourself, that prove that you can't. If you say, why can I when I have a doctor's appointment? Why can't I? Maybe I really only need short-term goals. Why can I? What's different about when I'm successful? Because that proves I am successful. I'm a successful person. There's just something going on over here that's not in alignment with what helps me to be successful. But I am successful. I do sometimes go to bed when I'm supposed to. I do sometimes make the choices I want to make. Don't ask the question, why can't I? There's never going to be a good answer to that question, ever. Why can you? Why must you? Okay. And I'm so sorry to cut you off, but it was for you because I don't even want you to think that question. Okay. And who else would like to share?
Come on, anybody. Who else?
Bela,
like
Lauren, Seema.
They know their why. Maybe it's not strong enough, their why. They're questioning.
Vita, is that you? Go for it.
Yeah, yes. So I initially wrote that I want to be at my goal weight by the summer. But I so oftentimes think it's not a strong enough why. But before Corona, I went to the States, I had lost weight and I felt really good. And I have to really hold on to how I did feel. And that when I want to go again in the summer, God willing, I'll be able to go, that I want to have that good feeling again and feel good in the dress that I'm going to wear for this event for my mother's 95th birthday. That it's not just for her, it's going to be a big family thing and, probably 100 people. And so I have to hold on to that why.
So are you
That's-
open to a little tweak?
Sure,
Okay, so with your permission, is it okay if I ask a few questions?
sure.
Okay. What would be even better than how you felt last time? How you felt last time didn't last. So if you want to only recapture the feeling from last time, that feelings of, okay, maybe I'll like really pull it in 3 weeks before we go and I'll get those last pounds off, right? What is the daily lifestyle, the daily choices that person who goes to America knows the dress fits the week before she goes, know the dress fits the week after she comes back and is showing off all the pictures and like knows she still looks as good as she did in those pictures?
It's a big question. I maybe my issue. I have not come to grips with that. It's got to be more than that. It's got to be more than that. I think just feeling good in general, no matter what the event or not the event, just feeling good in general and fitting into clothes easier, or new clothes, new sizes. And one of the big things I think is very important is to not get into a crisis moment and to plan as much as possible. Have the groceries in the house, have the cut up vegetables from the beginning of the day or even the night before, just all of those things. It was Pesha's birthday, I have to tell you, and we didn't have a get together, but I had planned to make a vegetable platter for her. And what happened is, it wasn't an event, but I had an overflow of vegetables. So I thought the best birthday present is when someone else cuts your vegetables. So I brought her the
Absolutely.
vegetable platter anyway.
That's
But
the
planning, I
best.
think, is a big factor. So planning, I think, is really crucial, because then you don't get into the crisis moment. You can grab the healthy stuff instead of the junk.
So how can you tie that into your why? When the person who gets on that plane to America, who's going to see her mother's 90th birthday, everything is planned for the airplane. You know you're going to feel amazing when you get off that flight, because planning is just comes easy to you now. You just are always thinking about simple, easy. Of course, I want to feel good, but you want to have a specific event or picture in your mind, because feeling good every day, it's crazy, but we have two conflicting needs. We need certainty. We need to know and feel safe that we're going to feel good every day. But then we need uncertainty. And so sometimes we sabotage just because we're actually bored feeling good. We're like, oh, I'm doing the right thing. It's kind of boring. and
No,
so
not only that, but I get to the point where I'm feeling good now. Now I can have something, oh, then I goes the spiral down.
exactly. So it's just two conflicting needs. Then you want uncertainty. Then you want something new. You want an adventure. So it's really in your mind when you think of all the adventures you get to have when you're not worried about your weight, when you that every day can be a new exciting adventure outside of food. I'm going to open my closet and every day I'm going to wear the best clothes on my way to going on an adventure, on my way to finding some new adventures in my life. Yet you want to have that mix of the new and the certainty and the uncertainty. Because otherwise, how many of us are like in that zone? It's like all going well, and all of a sudden we're bored. 3 good days and we're bored with what's working. Okay, that was amazing. So we have only 9 minutes left to wrap up the hour. Please feel free to go if you're stuck, but I would love to just stop talking and open it up and really hear from you guys. What really resonated tonight? If you didn't share, you didn't have a chance, then please tell us like what resonated for you, or what did we not cover that you really wish we would have covered? Beth, Bela, Lauren, anybody ready to unmute, Seema, and share, Khana, something that if you didn't have a chance to speak, it resonated for you? Bela, is that a raised hand? Is that a finger movement? Go for it. Unmute yourself.
Hi. I mean, a whole bunch of things resonated. I think what I keep getting caught up is in the focus. Hi here. I personally have like a god awful amount of ADHD, and it literally rips me from whatever path I'm on and throws me back a million years in the span of a second. So I can easily like be on my path and be super clear and have like a great week up until, Wednesday. And then all of a sudden I'm 5 and I can't continue for whatever, maybe it's the weather, like whatever it was, like today particularly, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna do the thing. And now I'm not. Nope,
Right, no.
not happening. I drank water today. Go me. I made it pretty. That's all I got. So I think my question, which is a much bigger question and a much longer answer, is how do I keep that focus? I know it's all in the why. I get it. I want to point out that there were a few times recently I went shopping in order to, you know, fill the fridge for whatever we did would be next. And I had this epiphany. I'm standing there. I'm like, I'm getting this vegetable for this salad and this vegetable for that. And I come home and I'm like inspired, literally inspired. And I actually prep meals, I've never done that before. Just because it like hit me. Wow.
Yes.
And it worked for, you know, till Wednesday.
So my answer actually is, with your permission, can I ask 2 questions? So question number 1 is it consistently Wednesday?
A lot of times it's consistently Wednesday, unless
Right?
I
How
start
many
on
other people-
Tuesday.
Hump day, Wednesday, right? What about leading into that, right? Like, know yourself is Wednesday, I need a Pinterest board. I need like 15 Pinterest minutes on Wednesday to only look at salads because I'm like super impulsive on Wednesday. I'm at risk for impulsivity. And I need to like be surrounding myself with like things that are going to trigger good impulses.
I like that. That's cool. Yeah,
You
that makes sense.
know, that's what know yourself is. It's like your why is like, don't worry about the how. How doesn't have to look like anybody else. How is for you. Who else? Who would like to share something who didn't get a chance to share yet? Judith, Seema, Sorrel, anybody? Sarah, Pesha, Hana, anybody? Seema, go for it.
I think I lost my why for a while, and I think for me, I realized I need to get back to the mindset and keep that with me as I go through my journey. Like, I think the mindset helped me get there. And then I kind of was like, oh, I got this and I'm good. And over like a year, I don't know, do I go backwards or I just kind of gained more, you know, and then now I'm just back to trying to like get back to my goal, weight loss. How am I going to do it? Mindset. I pre-tracked my Shabbos and then realized I'm going into a Shabbos that I know we're going somewhere that triggers me emotionally and socially. And then I knew that was what I was heading into, like a Shabbos that I was going to be like socially eating and emotionally eating, because that's what I do when I'm in that setting. And then how do I kind of felt like stuck with that mindset piece of like, oh, how did I do this before? What do I do now? And like, I think that's where I'm stuck trying to figure out like a deeper, maybe my why isn't deep enough to get me through the emotional, like, and then I keep telling myself, oh, Alana says emotional healing, not emotional eating. And I'm like, okay, do I need to like shift out of focus on like the weight? Like maybe that's what I need more. I'm like kind of struggling there. Like I know my why, but maybe, I don't know, like now I'm questioning, like everyone's saying, like, oh, maybe it's not strong enough. Maybe I need to reshift it a little. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Are you comfortable sharing your why?
Well, I mean, my long-term why is my health and to just be healthy. That's like my long-term why.
Right. We all say that. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I think to me, it means not looking like my grandmother. I maybe that's not a nice thing to say, but
No,
I
it's
watched
totally
my grandmother.
okay.
I remember I was 10 and I was with my grandmother in Florida for the summer, or for a few weeks in the summer. And she went into the doctor's office and she came out and said, my doctor told me that I'm a diabetic, but my diet could help me control it. And she didn't change her diet. She just kept eating the way she was. And she was, you know, like, and I think that experience kind of stuck in my brain, and I was like, wow, I don't want to be a diabetic, and I want to be able to control that by my eating. So I think that's like a slight piece. Not that anybody ever told me that I was anywhere near being a diabetic, but like that was a fear almost that I have. Like, oh, if I don't eat properly, then that's maybe where I could go, because I do love sugar and I do, you know, like I don't, you know. So I think
that's a really strong why. I want to be healthy is not a strong why. A picture of your grandmother eating a cookie that she knows is slowly killing her in front of you, that's a powerful why to ask yourself, when I go to this friend's house, I know this is emotional eating. I know I want some emotional healing. I'm going to reach out to my coach. I'm going to reach out to my group, and I'm going to share and be vulnerable why this person's house is so triggering for me. And I'm just going to address, like, this is really a trigger. So no matter how many bags of veggies I bring to their house, I'm going to be triggered there. So
Like
I need help.
weird things. Yeah. Weird things caught me. Like I didn't buy all the to be shot fruit, you know, because I know that I will be eating all the to be fruit, you know, to be shot fruit that's left over. And then I go there and I no problem eating all the coconut and all the, you know, dates that they checked and all the, and then I get on the scale Sunday morning and I'm like, yeah, I kind of saw that happening. I know that these things are going to be there, and it's frosting, it's raw cookie dough, it's anything of the moment. And it's like, why am I eating all that? Oh, I know, because I'm triggered. And the not funny, it's the saddest thing is that I was talking to my husband about it, and I said, it's not even that these things happen every time I'm there that I'm triggered. Like the anxiety of maybe they'll say something that will trigger me and upset me is there. And I think it's just a bigger emotional issue that I need to deal with. Like,
But if you're like, the other option is I deal with it and I reach out and I get support, because I saw all of us like nod our head because we all know people like that whose houses we have to go to, like, and we all work together on that issue. And you read a book and you listen to a podcast and you talk to your coach and you work with other people who are all going through the same thing. Then 15 years from now, when your grandma ate the cookie, maybe she was emotionally triggered. She didn't have any better tools. And so she wanted to change her nutrition, but she couldn't because she did the best she could with what she had to work with. So your determination, your why, is to make sure that you are never without tools. So anytime something comes up that triggers you, something comes up in your tracker and you're like, oh, this is weight gain. You're like, yes, thank you, God, for helping me solve this now. So when I'm older, I'm going to be healthy because I'm going to have sorted through this emotional baggage. Guys, it is 9 o'clock. I could stay and talk with you guys for hours, but I want to respect your time. Did you guys really enjoy tonight's call? You guys were amazing. You were beautiful. You were vulnerable. You showed up. I think every single share was just better and better and better. Thank you guys so much for making this call so amazing. You'll all have access to the recording.
And keep on sharing all week or past the week also. Like, share in the group. Like Lily said, lean into it. When you know it is the hard day or when you know you are approaching something. The key so often to that part of, oh my God, I fell off, is like when Seema was saying, is first becoming aware of the trigger. That is first. Becoming aware of your trigger then puts you in a position of changing the response to the trigger.
Thank God I now know, so I can now improve it. Even if it takes a few tries. Definitely write a post on Team Thrive, just so you guys know what's coming up this week. I think I'm not the best post picture person. I yell at Wake, kicks my butt at that, but I did my best this week to really find good quotes. And I found a quick 10-minute YouTube video that I found was inspiring by the person who said that quote, to kind of trigger some more thinking and to have some little development to do, and then to share some takeaway or share what's going on with you every day this week. But just to keep it going so you build on this, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and takeaways from this week's call. Love you guys all so much. Have a great week.